Within the dimly lit halls of the New Jersey Lunatic Asylum, Dr. Henry Cotton walked into the operating room to have the nurse slide the gloves on his wiry hands and prep him for surgery. He was exhilarated. He loved this part of his job, and he didn't care that there was so much controversy about it. He felt deep into his soul that to cure madness, he needed to cut into his patients to take it out. A sinister smile expanded his lips as he walked up to his conscious patient. Two other nurses stood by her, waiting for him to give his commands. The patient's mouth was stretched wide, exposing yellowing teeth, some riddled with cavities. Her lips were cracked and dry, and her skin was wrinkled due to lack of care. But it was her eyes that gave him the thrill that he needed. They were scared with a touch of anger, or as he would put it, madness. Today he would rid her of it. Today, this was more evidence that he could cut it out. She had been brought in by her parents a few months ago, and although she was given medication, her manic depression and anger outbursts were still too much for the staff to handle. That was why she was now laying in his operating room. That's now why he would remove 5 of her teeth. That's now why his heart sang. We've reached the end of our journey through Connecticut and back to Tennessee's intriguing tales. Let's take a moment to reflect on the highlights of our adventure. In our first video, we immersed ourselves in the vibrant 2024 Caribbean Carnival. We chatted about carnivals around the world, and while Connecticut's might not be the biggest, it was definitely a blast. Why? Because the delicious Jamaican food, of course. With full bellies, we drove over to see the famous Devil's Tower, a place shrouded in eerie legends. I wasn't scared, but no one would get me to drive 6 times backwards to see the devil. I am not that interested in him. Then we took a guided tour through the Eastern State Penitentiary and learned of some of the horrors that happened there. After leaving and driving 3 blocks, I struggled to run up the rocky steps because I would be doing 2 things that go against my nature: running and climbing steps. Our journey then led us to Forest Haven. Although we could not even get through the gate, we did get enough footage to tell you some of the horrific tales that happened there. To wrap up these episodes, let me introduce you to New Jersey Lunatic Asylum and its notorious doctor, Dr. Henry Cotton. Welcome to another spine-tingling episode of This Happened Here. Today we explore the eerie corridors of the New Jersey Lunatic Asylum, aka Trenton Asylum. If you're fascinated by these chilling tales, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. It helps us bring more captivating stories to you. I'm LT Bartek, and today we'll delve into some of the most unsettling accounts from this infamous asylum. This is the closest we could get to the asylum, so I had to borrow from my fellow content creators and include some clips of places we drove through to bring you these videos. The story must be told. The New Jersey Lunatic Asylum, founded by the passionate activist Dorothy Lind Dix on May 15, 1848, was a beacon of hope for low-income, mentally ill patients. New Jersey's first asylum was built with the visionary Kirkbride plan in mind. Remember Thomas Story Kirkbride from my video on the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum? Check out the card above if you missed it. Kirkbride's plan emphasized the importance of natural light and fresh air, with hospitals adopting various architectural styles but sharing the iconic Batwing floor plan, with wings sprawling outwards from the center. For 60 years, the asylum thrived, ushering a new era of psychiatric study and embodying the enlightened mentally of the U.S. towards those less fortunate. But then, like a roller coaster plunging into darkness, everything changed when Dr. Henry Cotton joined the staff. Dr. Henry Cotton, a once respected physician at the Trenton State Hospital in New Jersey, was a man driven by a singular obsession. In the early 20th century, he became convinced that mental illness was caused by hidden infections within the body. He believed that by surgically removing those sources of infection, he could cure patients of their psychological disorders. The theory, rooted in the medical understanding of the time, seemed promising, but Cotton's obsession spiraled into madness. His methods began simply enough. Cotton started by removing patients' teeth, believing that infections in the mouth were the root of insanity. When this failed to produce the desired results, he moved on to more invasive surgeries, extracting tonsils, sinuses, stomachs, spleens, colons, and even reproductive organs. The walls of his hospital echoed with the screams of the unwilling, but Cotton remained unfazed, convinced that he was on the brink of a breakthrough. But the more he cut, the more elusive the cures became. The patients, already fragile and broken, deteriorated further after the brutal procedures. Cotton's zeal led him to perform these operations on thousands of patients, many of whom never left the hospital alive. The wards filled with the stench of death, yet Cotton reported miraculous recoveries, fabricating success stories to silence his critics. Among the most chilling aspects of Cotton's work was his treatment of children, believing that insanity could be nipped in the bud. He began performing his grisly surgeries on young patients, even his own children. He claimed to be saving them from a lifetime of madness, but in reality, he was condemning them to unimaginable suffering. The children, too weak to resist, became test subjects in his deranged quest for a cure. Despite the growing number of deaths, Cotton's influence remained strong, bolstering by his position and the belief that he was revolutionizing psychiatric treatment. The truth, however, was far more sinister. As the bodies piled up, whispers of his true nature began to spread. Nurses and staff spoke in hushed tones of his manic eyes, the way he reveled in the surgeries, the cruel smile that twisted his face as he wielded the scalpel. By the time the medical community began to scrutinize his work, it was too late for many. Investigations revealed the horrific toll of his experiments, but Cotton, defiant to the end, maintained that he was a pioneer misunderstood by the masses. He died in 1933, leaving behind a legacy of pain and suffering that would haunt Trenton State Hospital for many years to come. But some say Cotton's story doesn't end there. The hospital, long since abandoned, is said to be a place where the walls themselves remember the horrors inflicted within. Those who dare to enter speak of ghostly whispers, of cries in the night, and of a shadowy figure with a bloodied scalpel, still searching for the elusive cure that never existed. And perhaps, in those dark halls, Dr. Henry Cotton continues his work, forever trapped in his own delusion, carving madness out of madness in an endless cycle of torment. Well, that concludes these stories. I hope you found something out of all that. If you did, don't forget to give this video a like. It does more for us content creators than you can imagine. Also, share and comment. You know I love to hear from you. Love yourself and others, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye!